Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice and the host of the program, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that the Colorado Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday, and if you can't listen to the entire show, it's always available by just going to Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com. It'll link over to YouTube or to the podcast, or just go to your favorite podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and search for Barb Schlinker, Your Real Estate Voice. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about your primary assets, and that for most people is your home. So, Barb, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Richard, I'm very excited about today's show. The first segment we're going to talk about is what people want from their real estate agents in general, not just sellers, but buyers too. What kind of service do they want? Real estate commissions are pretty expensive. So what are they getting for their money? So we'll go into detail about that. And then the second topic is kind of a follow-on from what we've been working on in the past few weeks. A lot of people got notices in the mail that all of a sudden their property taxes are extraordinarily high. And I learned a lot of lessons from that. The deadline to file the appeal has passed. However, I've got some new information, like if you get denied, you can have a hearing. We're also going to talk about the qualifications for the senior property tax exemption, of which filing for that is actually coming up by July 15th, and also the disabled veteran property tax exemption and how you can file for that and how our team is going to help you do that. Segment number 3 is we're going to talk about how to avoid, let me say that again. Segment number 3, we're going to talk about how to avoid the top agent hiring mistakes. And then the last topic is something that I actually get asked about all the time, basically is what to do, what not to do to get my house ready for sale. So we're going to talk about that and a checklist for selling a home, as well as all of our hot new listings. Richard?
Sounds great. Barb, we know that most people don't sell homes very often, but what is it that home sellers want out of their real estate agent when they buy or they sell a home?
Well, Richard, as far as selling a home, it actually, for most home sellers, it's not a one-off process. In fact, I remember talking to a home seller recently. He goes, wow, seems like you're just wrestling through the mud all the way through the process until the very end. And in some cases, it's true. In some cases, it goes smooth and on time and as planned. There's a lot of landmines to go from contract to closing. And then just to get to being under contract is a process as well. So there's been a lot of things going on recently in the past year. We had the Fed raise all the interest rates. Now they're over 7% for conventional, about 6.5% for VA. That has created some demand destruction because buyers' payments are higher, right? And so right now the rates, I think 30-year fixed, we're at, as I've checked this morning, 6.94% for conventional, 15-year is 6.3%. A VA loan is 6.62%, and same for the FHA. So those rates are getting up there. And for some of us that have been around for a long time, it may not seem terrible, but for a majority of the buyer population right now, which is millennial, Gen Xers, and Gen Zers, those people have never seen anything other than 3.5% interest rates. So they're getting sticker shock, and especially for them, it's all about the house payment. So they're finally conceding, okay, this is our new reality. I'm going to have to find ways to afford it. I'm seeing a lot of young people come in with big down payments on their homes. So they hunkered down, they saved money so they could make it work because they know real estate is a really, really good investment. So let's talk about the number one service that sellers want to know. And when they're dealing with a real estate agent, well, the first of all, They want to know what their home is worth, and they want some support in pricing their home realistically, not optimistically, because I know very few, if any, sellers that when I ask them this question, what's most important to you? A majority of them will say price is number one. Most want the most money, which I totally understand that, right? But what's different about when it was a buyer's market, meaning there was a lot of negotiation room between buyer and seller. Typically, it was 3 to 6 months to sell a home. That's a criteria for a buyer's market. Back then, people would traditionally price a little bit high for negotiating room. Well, the problem with that is if you do that now, especially coming off of a red hot period that went for about 5 or 6 years, the buyers are like, okay, if they're asking that much based on what I'm seeing, they're not even going to go look at that home. They're just going to move on and try to find something that fits their criteria better in terms of price and what it offers. So you really can't price a home too high in this market right now. And most people really want great communication from their agent, whether it's a buyer or a seller. They want good information so they can make an informed decision. And most people only care about their own transaction, not everybody else's transaction, right? And so what I see sometimes, some of the mistakes that agents make is they really get focused on volume or transaction, and it's all about the money and not about the service. I actually had somebody that worked for me years ago that was her modus operandi. She made friends, she could get people under contract, but then once they were under contract, she kind of vanished until it was time to collect her check, or they abdicate the services to other people that aren't really qualified to do the work. As an example, I spoke to an agent yesterday that actually abdicated writing the offer for her buyer that really wanted this home that I had listed. But the way you submit offers for that home, it's a corporate or government-owned home, is not the same way as the traditional way. The instructions were available for them to see, but her assistant didn't follow the instructions and her buyer missed out on getting that house. So buyers want people to care about their transaction, of course, right? And most people want, when they're buying to get the home that they want to be kept informed. They want the truth, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. They want the truth so they can make good decisions and move forward. And then there are some agents, unfortunately, that are in what I call the sales prevention business. Like they fight every step of the way. It's a battle from contract to closing, and they make the experience miserable. You know, there's a lot of hoops that a seller has to jump through to get to the finish line. And there's some hoops on the buyer side. The buyer has to pay for an inspection. They have to pay for an appraisal. They have to get their loan. They have to supply all those documents. There's a lot of hoops for both parties. And if you've got an agent getting there trying to stir up the pot and create more problems, it just makes it harder. Like just the other day, I talked to an agent. They submitted an inspection objection, but it really wasn't what the buyer really wanted. And it didn't make sense. It was just a minor thing. And the seller's like, hey, I've already been through an inspection on another deal. I've already fixed everything. I'm not doing anymore. If they won't take it as is, I'm bailing out. So I called the agent and I said, is your buyer really going to terminate over $1,000 for a $565,000 house? And his answer was, Richard, no, but I had to ask for something. How would you feel about that if you're the seller?
Barb, we're discussing what people most want from their agents. So what should home sellers expect from their agents, especially right now in this market?
Well, I think what they should expect is good service all the way through the whole entire process, right? They want good information. They want to know about the market. You know, a lot of people can get a lot of good information just by searching on the internet. And there was a great report that was published by a millennial agent just a few months ago that it was titled, "What do real estate agents do anyway?" It was really funny. And because they said, hey, we can get information about the market online. We can get information about contracts even online. What do they do? We can even get our own loan information online. So it was a good question. And it takes somebody with expertise to be able to share their expertise. And some agents will try to pick apart a home just based on, quote, fiduciary. I call them the sales prevention business, and they may be poorly trained. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been here selling homes since I think 1996 is what I was last told. It's been a long time. I have over 27,000 buyers in waiting on my website. So if you are thinking of making a move, you might want to go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on any link or find my buyer. We'd love to help you. But I think, most sellers want to know the cost of selling and how much they'll put in their pocket. And they want to know the best ways to get the most amount of money. And it's really critical in that case that the online presentation is absolutely perfect, because we know that 88% of the buyers eliminate homes based on the online pictures. And from the buying process, the buyers, every state is different on the home buying process. Every contract in every state is different. Like Colorado is different than Nebraska, than Texas, et cetera. In Texas, the buyer has 10 days before their earnest money becomes non-refundable. Not so much here. So they need an agent that is skilled and trained and has the expertise to understand that, to protect their assets and to help them get into the right home. And, it's unfortunate that a lot of the agents really aren't trained on how to negotiate. They're just order takers, unfortunately. So people want from their agents really good service. And once they go under contract, communication all the way through the process, including about inspection, about title, about appraisal, about loan approval, about closing, about repairs. All those things are important pieces of information to help these buyers make the good decision. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to talk to us about selling your home, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice. She's the host of the show as well, and the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Not just the name, that's the promise as well. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or just visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about how to file your property tax appeal, plus a senior or disabled veteran exemption. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.